Hello everyone, my name is Yudhir Jaswal. I'm the group writer at Y Media. And we all are carefully following, observing, discussing, questioning, or some of them applauding as well, Prime Minister Mark Carney's policy. Prime Minister Mark Carney, the moment he gave his speech at the Davos summit, he has been the discussion across the globe. Prime Minister Mark Carney, his recent trip to India and of course to Australia and Japan, we will be discussing that. But primarily, what are his policies? Are we in agreement with them? He spoke about rupture, but it's not only rupture with US, but there has been rupture from the policies which Canada was adopting. Are Mark Carney's policies right, wrong? Do you agree or not? To discuss this, we have a very well-known personality from the community, Dr. Aditya Jha with us. Sir, a very warm welcome on Y Media.
Thank you so much. Very special time, as you mentioned, and always a pleasure to be with you and discussing issues and enriching each of us with our thoughts.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm looking forward to this interesting conversation. As you rightly said, so these are very interesting times. Prime Minister Mark Carney, right from the Davos summit, there was discussion. Not only just the European audience that witnessed him live, there was a standing ovation, but it was discussed in Canada, in US, in India, in Asia, China. What do you make of it, his speech at Davos?
First of all, this is a seismic. It was a seismic event. Like you don't plan and predict that there is going to be an earthquake somewhere. I think what he said was a political earthquake. And there couldn't have been a better person to deliver that message than him. Look at his intellectual bandwidth. Look at his ability to lead organizations. Tough times, 2008 in Canada, Brexit in UK, and then his corporate activities. What is his background? Coming from the Northwest Territories. Like we talk about boonies, that's the boonies of the boonie. That's where he grew up as a child, and then went to Harvard, Oxford. So most of the time, what amazed me, Yudhvirji, is that most of the time, intelligent people are not bold people. They are very timid because intelligence allows you to follow the safe path. And here is a guy who is so intelligent, but he was so bold. And what he said was not something which is the unique thing he said. He said it what everybody was thinking about. Words were different, and that created a earthquake in my view, and it has given us a tremendous opportunity. We will have challenges, no doubt, and I'm sure you're going to ask the questions, but we have structural challenges, but we have foundational strength. Canada has foundational strength, and this kind of, when you just wake up, we were very comfortable. And comfortable, you just do whatever is okay. Don't shake the apple cart. That was an amazing event, what he did. Everything made sense for the world. First time a political leader, what he spoke was, normally politicians, when they are international, they give message to the international audience. When they are domestic, they give message to the domestic audience. I think it was a rare occasion when a leader, what he spoke was a message to the world and message to Canada. So that was amazing. Yeah. Lifelong, I've been supporter of Conservative Party, but I don't have to think anything. Mark Carney is the man of the hour. But is he alone going to be sufficient? We can talk about it.
Yeah. This was my next thing, and of course we'll talk about his policy shift in India. That is shifted and other policies as well. But sticking on with this one, since we started for this one now, he's become a poster boy of leadership who are trying to, if not oppose, at least challenge. Sometimes he's in support of Trump's policies, but he's also questioned. The words that he's been using now. Others are borrowing the word rupture. So there's a rupture. This is a new world order. The powerful nations, and middle powers must get together. Though, these are the things being bordered. So, do you think this will definitely, where we're challenging U.S., our relationship with the U.S. would be okay because the Kuzma review is going to happen. There are so many other issues with the U.S. already.
I would little disagree. What he has done is amazing. He's not challenging U.S. He should not challenge U.S. We will always be a little brother of U.S. Eventually everything, I'm a very positive guy, everything will settle with America. There is going to be this upheaval right now. So he is not challenging them, he's asserting. Canada is asserting. We are a country of 40 million people. So many countries like Switzerland, Singapore. There are many, Israel, who have way less population than us. Israel has 9 million people. Look at the presence, right or wrong, Israel has. Singapore, per capita income, 3 million people, I think. Yes, and $92,000. Look at Ukraine, 16 million people, and a giant, the polar bear of the world, who thought that within a week or maybe maximum 2 weeks, we will put this country, which is so vulnerable. It's a flat land. Ukraine type of country should never go to war because you are sitting duck. It's not like China, India, where you have Himalayas, you have forest, you have rivers, you have something. And so Canada is not small. I would like to convey that message. And maybe to illustrate that point, I will just go little sidetrack. This country had a significant role in World War I and II. The war in World War I and World War II was the war of UK and America, not of Canada. Canada went to help in the war of US and UK. We lost we lost in World War II, we lost 66,000 people. People don't know, and your audience will be surprised. The population of Canada in 1945 was 11 million. And people cannot guess how many armed forces members were there at that time active. 1.1 million. 1.1 million. And you will fall off your chair if I tell you what is the strength of Canadian armed forces today. 11 million had 1.1 million people committed. Today we have less than 100,000. 40 million people. Weak countries, Canada can become very strong. Vast land. Do you realize if the Ukraine cannot be defeated, we should not challenge anybody. We should just be ready. If you have a body of a bouncer, you don't have to challenge anybody. Just walk like this. People will not mess up with you. Anybody will not. Be very respectful. Be very kind, gentle, but very strong. Don't mess with me.
Great points that you've just made, and I agree with you. If you look at the German forces, they've dropped down nearly, 8 to 10 times. Many of the European nations, you're right. I mean, Canada, including Canada, the forces, everybody has let go the forces down. Our defense budgets came down. If you look at in comparison,
I'll interrupt you.
Sure.
We are like jokers. These politicians. We had the previous prime minister. I shouldn't talk like that. Cute guy, handsome guy, very nice sound bites. But how can you make a country weak? Mm-hmm. Why everybody listens to America? Tell me one thing. Because they have the strongest army. Mm-hmm. Go in the history. I would urge you to go Google it and find out. The countries which has the strongest armies, they were the most prosperous. Weak people can talk nice, the narratives and talks and everything. But for us to reduce it, in fact, we should, I'm jumping ahead, we should become the defense technology leader. If I was in politics and I had a say there, I would say, make a goal. By 2035, Canada will be the leader in defense technology. Canada will be the leader of the architect. There's so many things we can do. This country can do a lot. Only thing is that politicians will lead it, bureaucrats can execute it. But what today we need is civil society, people like you and I. We should be, I wish Carney was listening to it, say, I am going to engage people. If I have my own team members, he has very bright people, but not bold people. I personally know, I would not, if they were in my company, I would not entrust them to execute something bold, because they are not bold people.
So when you're saying those are not bold people, are you alluding towards the cabinet ministers or his team? Cabinet?
Yeah, cabinet minister is from the team. So he needs similar type of people.
In his cabinet?
Yeah, not cabinet.
In his team as well?
This is a national project. You know how the Europe was rebuilt after 1945? People don't know the history and we don't pay attention. When the entire Europe was broken, America committed 13 million people, $13 billion to rebuild it. It was called Marshall Plan. And they engaged the other president, past president, to help it. So I'm saying you cannot build a nation by just because you have politicians as a part of your team. He should engage, find 10, 20 business people in Canada who are great business people. They are nation builders, they are business builders. The social, civil society people who want to contribute to the country. You know, you see this Order of Canada. What was the card I received? They desire better Canada. That has gone into my bloodstream. I want a better Canada. We want a safer world. We don't want ugly things and below level flag waving, that type of things. You don't build a nation like that. So what I say bold, he has to go outside his team, keep the team, but look at certain business leaders. I have many examples. I can tell you how George Bush Sr. gave $2 billion to two of his golf buddy to build Poland's infrastructure after Poland came out of the Russian thing. If he would have just given $2 billion to the new politicians in Poland, it wouldn't have been built. Because his golf buddy said, George, don't give the money to them. Let us build. These were two business people. They didn't want the money. In fact, the $2 billion they got, they returned $3 billion back to US Treasury. It was supposed to have been a donation. And that $2 billion, there's a Canadian guy I know, he was there as a part of that. They built the stock market, all kinds of institutions. So the time is to think about nation building. Canada needs to be strong. There are bright people, bold people who can do things. Not about the petty politics, which was happening, waving flags and doing this and doing that.
So you're saying Carney has started, Prime Minister Carney started in the right direction, but he needs more support from the people.
My fear is that if his ideas are great. He's a leader that's how we need a leader. We need somebody. Whether we agree, his policies, maybe tomorrow I will be criticizing. But you need intellectual bandwidth. He has that bandwidth. If you had a low bandwidth cable here, your TV broadcast will be a problem. Then you need content into that. Then you need to creating content and executing. You need leadership. You need people who can do the job. And that's where I'm saying that this is the time when politician, bureaucrat, and the thought leaders, which they have most of the time, these leftists, this has to be supplemented by civil society leaders. They should be called upon that I want you, so he can form a 3% team or 5% team for engagement with India or with China. It could be politician, bureaucrat, but there could be the lead. If I had to choose, I'm a startup guy, I would choose somebody from outside to lead that team. That I want an India czar.
A czar for India or an advisor for India.
Yeah, czar, they say, go get it done. Like, this is the right time. Modi did Vibrant Gujarat, you remember? Investment thing. Many things happened, big show, declaration, this and that, but that brought investment. I think it's a time he should say, I want tier 2, tier 3 businesses from around the world to come and invest in Canada. It's not only about trade policy and how much tariff and no tariff and this. We need investments in the country. Do you know that Vietnam is this year going to surpass in export Canada with the US? Can you even imagine it? 99% people don't know that Vietnam is in that situation. A country which is a pariah. Nobody wanted to touch them. People don't even think about it.
How did that happen?
This will be another your TV interview.
Yeah, so you just...
But one of the main things about, first of all, very pragmatic, these people. We can't give only one thing, oh, there is a corruption, not corruption. The system, the communist system, after Russia, China did something phenomenal. They decoupled politics with economics. So political system they maintained, the communist system. But economic system, they followed the world, the way the world is. So things happen there. Why India will not? It will be a phenomenal challenge for India because it's a democracy. Democracy, in order to win in democracy, you have to do certain things which is the lowest denominator. You think in China that foreign policy would have been objected? That would have been implemented 15 years ago. Foreign policy. In India, can they do it? He had to eat a humble pie.
Since you just mentioned India, we'll talk about China, we'll talk about US and at the global stage, Mark Carney's policies, but his recent trip to India, there are two viewpoints. On one side, he gained a lot of support that yes, it's high time we do this. Others, there was opposition as well. Before we even get into this discussion, let me take a step back. And I want to ask you, how did this happen? Almost it's a diametrically opposite position. I mean, who would have thought, I don't want to take any undue credit, but at the time when nobody thought Canada would start having good relationship with India, there was a press conference, the entire mainstream media was there. We got to know this, that yes, things could get better. Why media? We asked Prime Minister Carney that how are you going to have relations with India, and he spoke all the positive things. Entire mainstream media, they were surprised. Why is why media asking this thing? And then the Prime Minister, when he answered that he intends to have good relationship with India, I think that was a start. Then the G7 summit at Kananaskis, and then we witnessed the G20 in South Africa. Both the Prime Ministers leaders got together, and here we are. How did this happen? Was it the need of the hour, or they pivoted, Canada pivoted because of US? What do you think?
I think there could be many factors, will be a little bit of nudge.
Okay.
But has anybody questioned why the relationship with India should have been this bad? Mm-hmm. That was irrational, illogical. What was the reason? Why something bad happened, let's say, something bad happened that, let's for a moment agree that Indian agents killed somebody. So, go and investigate. Where is your security agencies? Why didn't they know beforehand? Why didn't they provide security, enough security? And you are no good at investigating. Air India thing, you could not investigate and find anything in 25 years. There is a UN charter, Article 51, and that talks about unwilling and unable. And that has been used by UK, America, and many other countries have used it, that if a non-state actor in any country, if a non-state actor is doing something against any third country, and you are either unable or unwilling, then they have right to intervene. That's how Osama bin Laden in Iraq and other places. I'm not saying that they should do, India should do. But we can't be illogical. What is happening in Iran today? You think that is authorized? What, there is a reason for something. So for India-Canada relationships to go bad, Yudhvirji, you tell me, why should any nation decide about its bilateral politics or geopolitical stance based on a diaspora demand?
So you think former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, when he went on the floor of the Parliament on 18 September 2023, he did it purely for the domestic politics, or he was just trying to make sure?
First of all, he is not as competent as Mark Carney.
Trudeau is not.
No, not at all. And the second is, Canada's one of the biggest problems is diaspora politics. It is a curse.
It's a curse.
It's a curse for Canada. In my view, why? I'm again asking. National interest should decide how my bilateral relationship will work. National interest should decide what should be our country's geopolitical stance. As a diaspora, we should support fully the human rights issue is what? Freedom of speech, right to assemble, right to protest. But this is not our job. Then Moga mein what happened? Or the tractors in Haryana, if we start doing like that, this country has a much bigger problem. You don't worry about your trucks here. Focus on your core issues. Again, I'll say, your bilateral issues and your geopolitical stance, why should it be decided what's happening in Gaza? And when you should also know your strength. You can do nothing. You think Canada is a small country. One tweet you and I had discussed of Chrystia Freeland cost us $2 billion. Human rights tweet she made about Saudi Arabia, all the students were pulled out. Within 1 month, the human rights condition improved because of that tweet.
Flights were cancelled, no direct flights.
But I'm just asking you, if it was a private company, she would have been fired. I said, don't go beyond your mandate. What did you achieve? Yeah, I'm asking through you, what did she accomplish by making that tweet? Is the $2 billion important for Canada or not? And what happened to the lives of those students who were studying second year, third year, medical, engineering, and they were all paying big money to Canada.
The students from Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. And they were all pulled out. So this is the kind of people just don't realize you have to be realistic.
Pragmatic, as the Prime Minister is mentioning.
So India relationship, there is an issue. There is an issue of a Khalistan issue, let's say. But how many people know 70% of the Khalistan, Maharaja Ranjit Singh's, the Lahore Darbar, even today, 70% of that is in Pakistan. You think anybody of them can say, Pakistan, I want that land? My guru's birthplace is there, my religious places are there, I must get it as separate, including India. Let's say that demand is right. Go after that. You will not go because ISI is using Canada, they have weaponized Canada. So I'm making things...
That's a very strong statement. What evidence do you have to say this, that ISI is active here in Canada? You think so ISI is active here in Canada?
I don't have the proof, but that's what. You can make it. Of course, the way ISI operates...
But the allegations are on India. You think but ISI is active in Canada? The allegations are on India or for interference, China, Russia,
Every
India,
country
Iran.
interferes. America, Canada, US, UK, every country has every country, geopolitics, Yudhvirji, one fundamental thing works. National interest trumps everything.
But there are no allegations on Pakistan, at least for killing someone on Canadian soil. No Canadian.
So go and punish them.
The allegations.
So punish them. Trial. Have you found that? Trial the karo. Why wouldn't you? Didn't you know that person is under threat? Why didn't you provide Z kind of security to that person?
You cannot provide Z plus.
Why can't you provide?
To all the citizens?
You can fire Tomahawk missile. You have money for $1 million missile. for many things, and you can't provide the security for people. And then also look at that person's background. Will anybody question? People will be shit scared to talk about how that person entered Canada.
But that does not give anybody the right to kill
No,
him.
not at all.
Yeah.
Even the criminals cannot be killed.
Yeah.
If whosoever killed must be punished severely.
Okay. Held accountable.
Severely.
Right.
But you're saying that we can't provide security to the people. Why not? And how do we know the security agencies are not infiltrated? Why you had 10 police guys going on the drug thing and all that thing? Who says that they are all kosher? This one statement coming that I got a notice that I'm under threat.
Duty to warn.
No,
but you know, he got duty to warn notice.
So give him security.
But eventually, there are at least I would say 100 people from the Indian community. 100 people from the Indian community, I think, who must have got duty to warn.
See,
if you start
Udvirji, I'm more connected. Unless India is stupid, in this kind of moments when the world is in turmoil, you have to go after 1 or 2 or 3 people. And you get the whole thing. You can have one prime minister like Trudeau, he can just have billions of dollars go away. You think India is so stupid?
But the allegations against India...
Allegation is allegation.
No, the allegations were not just from Canada. The allegations were from Pakistan. The allegations were from US. Now we know there is an Indian guy who has pleaded guilty.
How did they kill Osama bin Laden? Do you think they informed Pakistan? US informed that guy, head of security agencies in Iraq of Iran. Boom, they did it. Why did
Soleimani, General Soleimani.
Yeah, why? Why Israel has been... Ideally, you and I can talk about there should be no killing, there should be no intimidation. Nobody talks about when there were posters in Toronto, Vancouver, kill Indian High Commissioner. Did you have any show on that?
No, we condemn that. We've always condemned.
Have they condemned? The same person who talks about this, how can you have it's for hundreds of years, there's a diplomatic immunity. There's something called civility. 90% of Sikhs live in India. How much turmoil there is? Around 10% is diaspora. Out of that, 2% plus is in Canada. And you and I have friendship in both communities and all that. Most of the people are just shit scared to talk about it. Otherwise, you think anybody likes this kind of disruption? We want to do our job. And India, if he keeps doing this kind of thing, that India will suffer a lot. This is a stupid thing, but they are doing it. I don't have data, but I think they are doing it in Pakistan. How some people are just vanishing. MI6, MI5 didn't do it before. CIA doesn't do it. It's sad. But we should also, there are 4 core things we have to worry about, which we don't. That we should not disrupt the social calm in the country. Diaspora issues should not disrupt the social calm of the country.
But when a Canadian is killed, you have to hold someone accountable.
Hold him. Put him in jail. Put him in lifetime. Our security agencies should be smart enough to find that guy. Why we are not doing that?
No, they've already held 4 guys, and they're in 20s. They're all from Indian region. Obviously, I'm sure
let the law of the land follow its course.
But then you cannot stop at the person.
So you will disrupt the billions of dollars of trade because of that. You think that is justified?
But a country cannot give free pass to any country.
No free pass. Who says the country? Canada should do whatever it can do. Why? If they are doing in America, America has found them, right? The guy had to confess, I did it.
He's pleaded guilty now.
So
Nikhil Gupta has pleaded guilty.
Yeah.
And there will be sentencing.
But you tell me, logically tell me, what is the job of CSIS, MI5, MI6, CIA, Mossad? What is the job? What is the job? They go to temple every morning? They are doing all kinds of things. This Jewish lady who became converted to Islam, they could kill the previous one. She almost slept with all the top guys, converted to Islam, became the most popular lady, talked about everything, but knew everything. They went inside. That's why that pinpointed killing happened. I'm not condemning. I hope nobody gets that message. But I'm saying you can't have one tweet making Canada lose $2 billion.
You mean to say you're not endorsing
not
the
at all, not at all. And we should also, I don't endorse that kill Indian High Commissioner, that poster. We should be ashamed of that. You know, nobody talks about it. 9 commissions and committees in India happened on 84 riots. 9. Manmohan Singh in Indian Parliament, he said, we should hang our head in shame.
Yeah.
I was surprised when Rahul Gandhi, because it was all the doing of Rajiv Gandhi's stupid sentence and these 10, 20 people around him who did all that thing. Rahul Gandhi apologized for that in 2024. Sonia Gandhi in 1998. 10 commissions. What else you want to do? Rajnath Singh said it was genocide. Nobody talks about it. I had a meeting with the chairman of one of the Gurudwaras here. I said, why not Hindus, Sikhs, just call the bluff of these politicians? There were 3,400 or 200 families who were known to have been impacted by that. Get them visa. All of them to Canada. I said, go together to Parliament. He said, no, we cannot go with you because the optics will look bad. How can Hindus and these guys who are promoter of that kind of thing, if the issue goes away, then nokri khatam ho jayegi.
So you're saying that anybody who was impacted by anti-Sikh violence in India, those families should be brought here and
100%. Not only that, I proposed to him, Sikhs are very enterprising people. We should set up a venture fund. And I said, I will come. I was the national convener of Canada in a foundation. We said, we all together will put a fund and give those guys to start their venture here. Many of them may not like to come here. But if they want to do a tailoring shop in Tilak Nagar, in Delhi, give them 20 lakhs rupees. Let them start. Third thing, like that guy, I forget the name of the Jewish guy, Weisenthal or who was that? It's known who were the perpetrators. We should go in a very civil way. We should identify and make their lives so miserable. Because this is the biggest blot in India's name, what happened.
Sajjan Kumar, Jagdish Titler, but some of them have been now...
Yadvirji, 2 gurus got slaughtered. For who?
Hindus.
For Hindus.
Yeah.
Those the brave kids, उसको दीवार में चुनवा दिया. किसके लिए? Hindus के लिए. I have not met any sensible Hindu who will say anything against Sikh. We will be eternally grateful. India should be eternally grateful to the Gurus and to the Sikhs. Eternally. I made people to sound something, and this is a I don't know, I think it's like if many people will be unemployed. If this issue goes away from Canada, many will have it. They have no job. Which, I don't know today's stats. Your father was in defense, right?
Air Force.
It was a matter of pride for families in Punjab. Sada Munda, उसपे आर्मी में है, नेवी में है, ये है, वो है.
It's still a matter of pride in Punjab. I've lived all my life in Punjab. Now, before moving to Canada, I was there in Punjab, and my schoolmates, they're serving Indian Army, Navy, and at what time I wanted to serve in Indian forces, but I moved to Canada.
Tragedy that in Canada there's a Hindu-Sikh issue they have raised. There's no Hindus in Canada have nothing to give that land. Let's say Khalistan is the right demand. Go and get it from India. Go and fight. Take RPGs. Get placed in Pakistan or wherever you can go. Fight. With 400,000 Mustandes there in the border. Fight with them. How come this is a Canadian issue? Why Aditya Jha should be not liked? I have nothing against Sikhs. They're the best of my brothers.
But I think that is what Mark Carney, he has pivoted now. The Canadian policy seems...
He has pivoted. He does not care about it. He says what is important is Canada. And we all, whether Sikh, Hindu, Muslims, we should worry about Canada. 13% unemployment we have amongst the youth. Should we not worry about that? And if that uranium going to India, it's 2.8 billion or 2.4 billion only. But do you realize the multi-layered impact of that $2.4 billion? Because that will be powering the nuclear power plants. Nuclear power plants gives us the electricity. That feeds the factories. That factories will employ employees. If there is more jobs because of that, so we are just looking at 2.8 billion. It's not that. It's a mega impact. The India-EU thing, 7 billion to 30 billion in apparel is much bigger and better for me than in IT, 30 billion becoming 100 billion. And you say, Aditya, what mathematics is that? Well, who cares about guys like me getting $100,000, $200,000 paid? We need to find that apparel industry, if that gets supported from 7 to 30 billion means 10 million jobs. That is important. The 100,000 IT guys, I don't care, beyond a point. It's okay in the bank account of India. Looks good. So we should worry about it. I used to admire Punjab in my student days. I used to go. But now you go. It's become dull. That part of India has become dull.
They're having that's why I think they're planning some events in Punjab as well. And Prime Minister Mark Carney, I'm surprised because I've been witnessing for almost 25 years, the 2.5 decades that I witnessed, and even prior to that, anybody would go, they would definitely go to some religious places, they'll go to Punjab, it was sort of a schedule there. This time Mark Carney, he directly go to Mumbai, he does his business meetings there, CEOs, he's meeting with the business guys there, goes to Delhi, does his stuff there, meeting with New Delhi, and off he goes to Sydney.
So why he has to go to our temples? Even in Canada, a Hindu temple is for a Hindu guy or anybody who believes in that. A Gurudwara is for the Sikhs.
Or anybody.
But this is all vote politics. You think they are sincere about anything? I asked the same gentleman, chairman of a Gurudwara committee. I said, tell me how many times you have been personally invited for dinner by one federal minister. He said, none, no time. I said, aapke saath, they say one night stand. Vote ke liye they come to you. I said, people like me, we get invited. Why? You should ask why I am not, I'm just approached for votes. We have to, there was a McLean study, early 2000. Most hated communities in Canada, I leave it to you to find out. Most, not hated, not liked. Look at that.
I've seen that study.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
So we should question those things. We should question about how our model should be Banga. Ajay Banga?
Mm-hmm. Ajay Banga.
World Bank's CEO? That should be our model. Why we should worry about something else? How our kids? We have a phenomenal advantage, civilizational advantage. This is our time. If I have to write a book, I would say East India Company returns. In a very soft way. We are not aggressive. You see Satya Nadella, Sundar Pichai, you name a company. Adobe, banks, pharmaceuticals, everywhere. This is our time. We will make us great, our heritage great, and we will help the country where we come. We should question what is diaspora going to do to make Canada a better place than asking about visa, अरे ऐसा reject हो गया, झूठा शादी कर लिया, कुछ कर दिया. That's not the way. We don't have a good impression.
And do you think, Mark Carney will carry on his policies, because there is backlash against him as well in certain sections?
See, if he has a majority, an economy, remember the famous Bill Clinton thing, it's the economy is stupid. If the economy becomes better, you see, already he's talked about Arctic. How many people were talking about Arctic policy? The Bering Strait in 30 years is going to be navigable. So much of minerals. Canada is the leader of the Arctic Circle countries. We have Aboriginal people. If we start building submarines and other things there, that is more important. Or boycott India or this and that. Why the early Sikhs who came to Canada, they worked hard. They built massive wealth. I met one guy, I will not name him. I said, how much of land you have? Now he's lost. 1 million acres of land in Vancouver. A Sikh guy. It makes it, when I think of my dear friend Bob Dylan and all that, 35,000 apartments he owns. So, and he is a great Sikh, collects the relics of the Sikh religion and all that thing, but got paid $10 million for Athabasca or somewhere the business school. We need to do those things.
Globe and Mail recently mentioned in a story that yes, they've, and I'm not saying this is Global Mail's investigative story, and I'm not saying they're right or wrong because I haven't seen the documents. I'm not privy to all those details that Globe and Mail has. But they, right before there was about to start a joint press conference between Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney and India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. At a few moments before that, a story comes out in Globe and Mail, and they mention that yes, they are linking some dots between two gentlemen posted at the consulate office in Vancouver, and maybe they were surveilling Hardeep Nijjar, maybe they passed on some information in India, and Globe and Mail story says there are serious allegations over here.
So those allegations must be investigated. It would be stupid for India to mess up with Canada. It will be stupid.
Yeah, Canada is an ally. Canada has always been a friend.
And how did India benefit from that? How did India benefit from Niger event?
But India, there were allegations that India has done it in Pakistan. There are allegations in US.
I think, without data, I think they are really doing in Pakistan. What should they do? Dawood Abraham is there. They are harboring him. And Dawood and team does problems in India. What should India do? That's why I said UN Charter, Article 51 said, unwilling and unable. If a foreign, non-state actor in your country is doing some things against my country's interest, and you are unwilling and unable, then I have a right to go and interfere.
You mentioned...
And there's a Caroline, I will use the word, there's a Caroline affair thing happened. And this started in Canada, 1876. The Canadian rebels against British. They got help from the Americans. They had a ship called Caroline. And when the British, at that time British were here, they knew they entered America, went and burned that ship. And there was a big issue.
Yeah, no, this must have happened in the past, but what the point I'm making over here is that is India is not US, and of course India is a bigger economy than Israel, but then that is Mossad, that is CIA, that is KGB, those agencies do that. But then does India really, because India is a land of Gandhi, India is a land of Buddhaji. India has always, it's a 5,000-year culture, Atiti Devo Bhavo. India has a soft power. So and you're right. Your question is, and especially
and
Canada.
because of that, do you realize biggest majority ethnic group was Hindu those days.
Yeah.
Thousands years of gulami is because of that. That Atiti Devo Bhava,
The slavery?
that British, 300 people plus came to Gujarat, and how the East India Company, with the money they got from these Gujaratis, and eventually they ruled India. The peak of British Empire, people don't really know how many people were there. 119 or 120,000 people, that's all British were there. Out of that, 42 or 44,000 were the administrators, 80 plus thousand people were the army people. And they ruled the whole country. That is a weakness. Why Sikhs, why they could not stand up to the martial community of Sikh? Because, masal tha na. You need both Shastra or Shastra. The problem with India, historically, has been the Shastron ki baat karte hain. We talk about forgiveness, because you have to be strong and you have to be kind. There is I remember famous Ramdhari Singh Dinkar poem which says, Kshama shobhati us bhujang ko, matlab snake, जिसके पास गरल हो, who has poison, उसको क्या जो दंतहीन विषरहित विनीत सरल हो. कितना भी he is very humble but has no teeth, no poison. If he says I forgive you, means nothing. You have to be strong and you have to be forgiving.
What do you see as the way forward now? Because Prime Minister Mark Carney
is focused on economy, and he should be focused on economy. He should be focused on Canada's security. It is not Canada's job what's happening in Eritrea or Mozambique or Gaza. Beyond a point, we should support within a limit. We should keep our country safe. We should keep our country prosperous. We should allow people to express themselves. But we should not allow Chrystia Freeland type of situation. One tweet cost $2 billion.
You're saying Mark Carney is bold. Why didn't he do a press scrum in India? There was no media scrum in India. There was scheduled press conference that was cancelled.
I can tell you why.
Sure.
Today's, when I will watch my interview, I'll find, oh shit, I should not have said that. So, because there will be people who will be analyzing every word. He is on a mission to build a trade relation with India. He is recognizing, he talked about the middle power. Did you see the interview, how humble he is? The interviewer asked him, Indian NDTV or some.
Yeah, CNBC, is India a middle power? He said India is not a middle power.
No,
is that what you're referring?
He also, he didn't say he's a great power. He said he's on a path
on
to
the trajectory,
something.
yeah.
So a trajectory. He says we are middle power.
Yeah.
It requires confidence for people to say, hey, I'm not the big guy, but I'm not a small guy. Okay? Someone asked me, hey, you should go there. Like we had a Modi event, and we were invited. I said, I'm not going. He asked me why. I said, why should I go? I already have his photos and everything. I already have it. Because I saw when Obama came to Ottawa, 3 hours you are locked down. You can't go to even a toilet. I said, why would I go to him? We are planning an event in New York. I would not like a prime minister like that to be invited, because life becomes so difficult. We want things like this. So I think Mark Carney, my only worry is his boldness. Will he have the bold people around him, capable people around him to do the job? If I was his advisor, I would say the civil society members find, business leaders find, and take the national project, let them lead it.
he wasn't able to do the press conference, that's fine. But then one of his federal government senior officials, they mentioned this thing that yes, India is no longer involved in the foreign interference.
How can he say that? I will not buy it.
You will not buy it?
No. Even though you can see from my interview, no country will not be around and snooping around.
They're all snooping.
Yeah, they have to.
Why?
Because
Why? Canada is a friend. Canada has always supported India. Canada is a very, you know what? I interviewed, whenever I would interview, though I know former Prime Minister
it's
Justin
not Canada, it's the people. There is a geopolitical game. One thing I must tell you. That they want to prove that liberal democracies don't function. And they have to prove that these democracies have problem. And there is a very famous Russian tactics called gaslighting. And gaslighting is that even fundamentally you are right, but your little things, India has a caste problem, women are not treated well, blah, 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 blah. 10 things you say and make it look so horrible. Okay? So these, as a country, it's your job. Why do we have 1 million? India has million plus army. If it was so, then the Nehru's theory should have worked. Why China entered? Because we were not ready. He said, I am Panchashil. I signed that thing. Why would India, China, bye?
So you're saying India will carry on foreign interference?
Every country, foreign interference, I'm not saying it. They'll keep snooping all around. Every country will do.
And Canada also does the same?
Of course. And if they don't do, they're not smart. But for sure MI6, Mossad and all that, how do they know if the precise time comes? How could...
the killings in Iran, that's what everyone is talking about. Yeah. So,
but anywhere...